Hey everyone. So this is Chebby or Psycher from Project 1999, and I'm going to be going over the basic steps I take to upscale using Topaz AI Gigapixel. Um, the base textures for the high res textures that are available from the EverQuest Trilogy CD. It's the higher res textures. I'm sure the ones that came out around Lucian or Lucklin. I'm not sure. I always don't know how to pronounce that. But at any rate, I'm going to show you how to upscale those textures, and because it's a little tricky. Certain textures require to be flipped and turned upside down for some reason. I don't really have a background in texturing, so I'm just kind of, this is more of a trial and error kind of situation. Okay, so here we go. So these are the four programs you're going to need here. XN Convert is free. I'm going to have all the links in the description. XN Convert is free. It's just a basic app that we're going to be using. I'll open it real quick. We're going to input a bunch of files. We're going to maybe do some actions. Then we're going to have maybe convert the format. So that's mostly what this is for, is to convert. We're going to convert several different file names. The next app software we're going to need is called S3D Spy. I believe this was made by the people who ran EQ Emulator before Project 99 came out. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's just some kind of asset that they used, or not asset, but some developer tools. I don't know, but I mean, it is an old software. Why is that asking me that? Okay. And basically what it is, as you can see, it's like an old kind of window. It's got that. It's definitely an old application. So this is the way you can extract files and add files. You can also view them. So here's one. This is an example of one of the retextures I did. The texture is not normally that big and detailed. That's for sure. It's dirt. Same situation. Now, I'm not a huge. This is one I did already. There's definitely, it's not perfect. There's definitely weirdnesses to using upscaling, but you have to hand it. Like back when I was doing this about 7 years ago or 5 years ago, I forget at this point. It was a long time ago. I didn't have the proper upscaling software, but now I do, and I feel like it creates so much data out of nothing, and it really does tend to pull the world together, and looks like it takes out all the blur of the game, and which is what textures are. So you're gonna need that. You're gonna need 3D Spy. This is what you're mainly gonna be using. S3D Spy, mainly gonna be using to package up your textures, to shove them into your EverQuest directory. Another tool you need is called Bulk Rename Utility. And what this is the reason why this software is necessary is because for some reason this is what really was the hardest thing for me to figuring out, is that I'm gonna open up 3D Spy S3D Spy real quick to just tell you what I mean. I'm sorry if this is confusing. I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you, but this information you kind of need to know it. So these files here, these aren't actually BMP files, right? They're labeled that way, but they're actually direct draw surface DDS.DDS. But for some reason, the developers named them BMPs, like bitmaps or whatever, the old style, graphics format. And I don't know why they did, and it took me a lot of trial and error to figure out what the extension was, because you can't just take these BMPs and extract them and then open them up in Paint. It doesn't work that way, because they're not actually BMPs. They're actually DDS files. You can open them up in image viewers that can open up DDS files, but not all do. And the point is to get the retextures back into the program, you need to rename the DDS files back to BMPs so it overwrites the files so that the client pulls the texture. Because if they weren't labeled the exact way, the textures wouldn't be pulled. Basically, we're replacing textures. We're not like creating new ones. So you have to. So that's what that's for. That's what this is going to be for. And I'll show you when it gets to it. It actually is super easy and fast to do. But I'll show you when we get there. Okie doke. So, and this, of course, is Topaz AI Gigapixel. Basically, what it does is upscaling, and you can drag and drop. And what I've been doing is I've been doing 4x high, and there's a couple little weird things, like you can't save when you export. When you start your batch or whatever upscaling, you can't export it in the same folder while keeping the same file name and deleting the originals. So you kind of have to make like a separate folder, because if it does, it renames it wrong, and then you have to spend. And then you're not going to spend all this time renaming. So this is a very annoying process. But I'll show you the steps I do to kind of streamline it. Still takes a little bit of thinking and steps, but if I can do it, you can do it. All right. I hope this is just recording this screen. Yeah. What happens if I go over here? Nothing? Okay, that's fine. I do have a dual screen set up right now. I guess I can just throw this over here. Yeah, it's kind of neat, so I can see my volume. Okay. At any rate, let me get back on track. So that's the four bits of software we have, right? You need these. These are the bare minimum you need. You don't need any more. I actually was messing around with a couple other different softwares, but this seems to be the most simplistic and easy way with the least amount of steps, and having good results too. Okay, so now what you need to do is you need to separate your zone files into separate folders. So let me try to break this down for you. So let me go to, this is the folder I made to do this whole project I'm working on here. And I'm sorry if this is small and hard to see. I was going to increase the DPI on my screen, but I figured, that might give me some challenges as far as like having to scroll a ton, and I'm sure you guys can see just fine. So this is the copy of high-res S3D. This is all the high-res files that don't, like, if you try using your base, your original textures that come in your game already, your titanium client, they're already too blurry. Like, these are the updated textures from when Lucian came out, the fourth expansion to EverQuest, and these aren't included in titanium for some reason. I think it came as like an alternate download, like if you wanted to decided that you wanted the better textures, to save some space or whatever, to not have so many CDs. I guess maybe they said they will throw the old textures on, and if you want them, you can download it through our servers. I think that's what their whole thing there was. But since there's no internet connection, everyone's stuck with the old textures, and that's that is classic. But I find that these new textures are definitely still had the same artistic, feel, same art style. I think the game always blended well. And what we're going to do is we're going to take those already upscaled images from 4 expansions later, and we're going to make them 4 times as big using I set it on 4 because, I'm trying to compete with modern game textures, and that is, I think, about the regular process. So, okay, so I'm kind of just giving you a lot of background here. And how far are we in? Wow, we really are 9 minutes in, guys. I'm sorry, I'm talking your ears off. but it's okay because we're gonna start now. I'm gonna even say in the comments to start listening at the 10 o'clock, or it's the 10-minute mark is when we're gonna be actually doing it. But I'm gonna be talking a little bit, unfortunately. So we're gonna do butcher block. All right. So this is how we do it. So you're gonna want to find butcher block in this high res thing. You can find on. I'll put a link for this in the description, but it's pretty easily found if you don't already have these textures. Chances are you might already be using these, so you don't even have to do this. You might have already downloaded the high res text. Okay, so we're doing butcher block, right? So I go down. I believe it's butcher. Oh, wait a second. I feel like they're not going to be here. Oh yeah, because they'll be in the zip file. Because I already took some files out. So this is what actually you're going to see. The zip file here. So here it is here. Butcher. What we need is butcher. You don't need butcher 2. I don't know. I think I accidentally got those. We need butcher, butcher care, CHR, and butcher obj as object. And so these 3 files is what we're going to extract. But I had already got this kind of set up because I know I'm in a long haul and I'm doing a lot. So what I do is I actually started putting each zone file in their own folder. And you do kind of need to do this because everything kind of gets unorganized after a while. So it's best to do it this way. So I already did this. Like I accidentally put these in here, but we're not. I think Butcher 2 is like the new Butcher block that they came out with in a later expansion. So I'm going to delete them because I don't need that. Okay, and then I also have these folders here. I also pre-made put these folders in. Now you should do the same because here we go. Every zone is comprised of 3 different files. You have the one that doesn't have any sort of marker. It just says butcher, just like when you would use to like find a zone name. Like that's the zone name, butcher, for butcher block. That is mainly grass, walls, grass and walls and water. Like it's not a lot. It's a lot of environmental texture and maybe like walls and stuff like that. Now we have butcher CHR, which I assume stands for character because it's all the NPCs, including merchants, orcs, whatever's in the zone, bats, skeletons, but the skeletons are probably gonna be on like a global texture though at this point because they use like the old school skeleton. So you're doing actually some unnecessary texturing, but it's okay. You're doing a batch anyway, so you might as well batch the whole thing. And then the last file is butcher obj, which stands for object, which will be things such as doors, forages. I'm pretty sure. Can't think of much more. I am blanking. Trees. For some reason, trees are objects, not environment. But so things are just split up in weird 3 different files, right? Now, I just want to emphasize that these 2 are done the same way. Butcher and butcher object, but butcher character has an extra step, and I'm gonna just remember that. It's important because if you don't, everything's gonna be upside down, and it's gonna be really weird. And it's gonna freak you out. It means all the mobs are gonna look up like the mobs won't be upside down, but the textures will be, and it will look really goofy. But I'll show you when I get there. So we're gonna go through this whole thing. Where are we at? We're at 15 minutes already. We haven't barely started, but here we go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the environment one, which is just butcher.3ds. So you need to open this up in 3D Spy. I have this like link associated, but it doesn't actually open. See, it's still high pass here. So all you have to do is go to EQ folder, and you just have to go to the zone butcher, right? And you just hit OK. Now we have our butcher files here. Okay, so now we're on Butcher, and we have all these files here. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna 62 objects. That's not bad. That's actually a pretty good one. The character one's gonna be in like the 500 range. So basically, you're gonna click the top, right, and then you're gonna hold Shift and End, and it's gonna highlight everything, and then you just press Extract. And you're wondering, you're probably thinking, oh, it didn't ask me where to extract it, and that's why I suggested putting it in its own folder, because it doesn't really give you that option, and it just dumps it wherever the source file is. So here we are, and now at this point you can close it out. Now what you're going to do is you're going to be in detail mode, right? And you're going to hit type twice or whatever, so that you got all your BMPs at the bottom here. Remember, these aren't BMPs, these are actually DDLs, and I'll prove it to you because I'll open this up and it'll say, warning, the file is wnight.bmp is a DDS file with an incorrect extension, rename. So that's just telling you right there. I mean, I think that's how I ended up discovering it, is I used some kind of software that told me like, oh, that's wrong. So it's a DDS file, not a BMP. So we're gonna hit no and just close that. So this is what the original texture looks like. It's not that bad. It's, you know, whatever, but it's blurry when you stretch it across the whole thing. We're gonna make it crisper and bigger. So I'm gonna close this out, and I always work in batching. There's no point to do this manually because it would take years to. I don't know how people retexture like that, like especially because EverQuest does tend to they'll have instead of just having one skeleton file that every zone pulls from, they'll repeat that skeleton. Like, that's a bad example because I think skeletons are global objects, but there are times where I see constant oh, here's the same orc skin that was an oasis that's in North Row, or just why can't they just pull it from one central thing instead of doubling the data? Like, it wasn't smartly done, but it's okay. So we have to do a lot of retexturing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start up here, and we're gonna click this link here. God, I'm really talking a lot, guys. I'm sorry. And we're gonna do the same thing we did before. Oh, and also you can delete these .wild files. Always delete them. You don't need them. We're not gonna touch those. It's best to just get rid of them. Okay, so we're gonna take all these files here. So we're gonna do Shift and down. Oh, Shift and End again. That's what I meant. Shift End. And what we're gonna do is we're going to open up xconvert, because we have to take these files, which are not BMPs but DDL files or DDS files, and we're going to convert them to PNGs. So we're going to go to output. This is DDS. We don't want that. We want PNG. I went with PNG because I feel like I want to preserve the data as best I can, and I always hear PNGs are good for that. I have no compression on, no filter, no interlaced, and what we're doing is we're gonna do source folder, and then we're gonna delete the originals, okay? And then we can hit convert, and I don't know why this is, so whatever, this is fast anyway. So there we go. We did what we needed to. So now when we're back in Butcher, these are all in PNGs. Great. Now, the reason why we converted these to PNGs to begin with is because the software I'm using to upscale does not support PNGs, or does not support DDS files, which is what they were. So we had to make them PNGs in order to use the software. It'd be nice if we, could skip that. Okay, so that's done. So now we can open up Topaz AI Gigapixel. So this is a pretty cool piece of software. It actually uses AI to fill in things such as grass, and it's very good for environmental things, which is what most textures are. So it works pretty good. Okay, so we're gonna take our new PNGs, Shift End. Wow, forgetting my own commands. Take all these guys and plop them on here. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna see how much more clear and crisp that is. Like, you actually see the grass textures and more. This was just a blurry bleh, and now it's actually have little rock formations. Kind of neat, right? It's kind of cool how that works out. So this is butcher block. Let's see, it's all like paths and stuff. Like it's not a lot. See, doesn't that look way more crisp? You're probably thinking, I don't know, man. It looks kind of like not real or something. But it definitely, you can tell that it's doing this justice. It's taking the original art and just like adding more stuff. So I put suppressed noise on high because I didn't want there to be any weird noise. I'd rather it be more cartoony than noisy. So I wanted that on high. I tried turning it off, but like I didn't like. I feel like it's better on. I think it's just like everything looks smoother, which is more natural. I don't know. And remove blur we went on high because we don't. If you have it off, it just looks like I don't know. It doesn't look good. But I put it on high, it kind of really defines edges more. So I just put both on high. I'm like, whatever. Okay, so now we gotta browse. We're gonna keep file format. We're not gonna convert the file format because it's not able to. If it converts to DDS, that'd be great, but it doesn't support it. So we're gonna keep them as PNGs. I think you can guess where this is going. We're gonna go back to the the converter we just used, right? Okay, so what we're doing is we're going back to zone project files. We're going to go to butcher, and now what we're doing the base file, which I always call, which I labeled zone. Just because this is care and object, right? Obviously, but this one doesn't have a name because it just isn't labeled. It's just butcher. So I'm going to select that folder. We do 4x, and we hit start. Now this is going to take a while. This is why. It's not that long. We're at 4 out of 49 now. So I probably will be fast forwarding. I'm going to pause it actually, so I don't have to bother with that. Okay, we're back, and it finished. You see down here, processing complete. So yeah, let me minimize that. We'll go back to our folder, and so we go to zone, and look, we have all these huge high-res textures. Now look how detailed that is compared to what it was. I know you didn't see it. Oh, here's like and you could tell it was upscale because the smoothness around here, but like that's rough. But I guess if it's lower, I might look okay. We'll see. I guess this is the statue on the top of Caladim. Water always looked a little weird, but what are you gonna do? Okay, so let me not get carried away. So we got everything we need here. It's good to go. Now what we do is okay. So now what we need to do is we need to take these and make them DDSs. So what we're gonna do to do that is use X and convert again. Oh god, this is so fun. So we're going to highlight all these images. Shift End is what I did to do that. Right click on the first. And by output, we're going to go to DDS because this software supports it. It doesn't have any settings, which is weird because there are settings you can change, but I find the default settings work fine, so I'm just going to leave it. And we can do the source folder, and we can delete the original because I've done this a few times now and I know it works. For a while it's like keeping a bunch of backups so I don't have to like wait to process and all that. Okay, so I'm gonna check that. Let's see what happens because I always get that prompt. Okay, so now we hit convert. This one takes a little bit longer. You see, it's not super quick. It's just 3 minutes remaining. It seems a little quicker than the other one, the up converting. So this is converting the PNG that we upscaled back to a DDS, right? And then when this is all done doing, changing the file format, we must rename it. So to rename it, we're going to use bulk rename utility. And we just find our zone here. I mean, this is, I did this, you know, you're probably just going to be working on one zone. So what you do is, you know, you get your zone and you put your zone files here, and then you extract everything. So we're doing zones still. So here we are. Let's see, it's 42%. So I'm just gonna pause the video for a minute so I can not just talk aimlessly. Okay, we're coming back up on 10 seconds left. And this again is converting the upscaled PNGs to DDS files. Okay, now that that's done, we're gonna open up. I mean, I just closed it just so you guys know this new program here that is in the description. Bulk rename utility, and we're gonna go to butcher. And we're gonna go to zone, right? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna highlight all of these, right? And we're gonna go over to extension, and we're gonna change them to BMP, and just make sure everything is fine. Don't do .bmp like I did. If you do that by accident, you have to like remove the dot. It's weird. I don't know why that happened, but just don't do .bmp. Just do BMP. Okay, then you hit rename. This takes like a second. Yeah, it's already done. Boom. So now these are BMPs now. Well, they're actually DDLs, but they're masked as BMPs so that it'll work. I don't know if that's like tricking the system. And you're probably wondering, why don't I just, you know, convert them to BMPs? Well, if you do that, there's weird issues like things not being mapped out correctly. They need to be DDS files. As far as I can tell, if anyone wants to experiment and prove me wrong, I mean, I'll save as a step, but I've had issues just using an image file. It needs to be a DDS converted and then renamed to a BMP. Okay, so now that that's done, we need to open up our butcher. Make sure you're in the right one, because it won't always be here. Every time you open up 3D Spy, it's gonna be, you're gonna make sure you're in the right category. So we are in butcher, and now we just go to add, right? We're gonna go to zone, and here are all the new files. Do Alt A, right, for the highlight all the files in the folder, and hit enter. And it will say that the file already exists, overwrite, and obviously yes. But the good thing, I wish there was like yes to all, but you know, this is an old software, so what you do is you just hold down enter, right? And it's gonna go for a while, and then, oh, excuse me, and then we're done. The file was probably at like 7 megabytes, and now it's 56 megabytes. So, you know, I'm a little worried about, you know, when we're done, how big the file size is going to be, and if people like, what if it gets up to 15 gigabytes? Like, are people going to be okay with 15 gigabytes? And if then I think about it, a lot of modern games are like, you know, 60 gigabytes plus. So, you know, if you're spending all your time on an EverQuest, you might as well have good textures, right? Okay. So, now that that's done, we're done, right? This is significantly higher now. This is like 26 megabytes, and this is 2, and this is 3. You know what I'm saying? It's way bigger. So now we're going to do it for the next few things. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to, so 1 is done. Now we got 2 more to do. Bear with me, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to do details again, and we're going to adjust this by type, and we're going to click here, and we're going to delete all these down now. Shift and Shift delete to get rid of these permanently, so they don't just sit in your recycling bin or whatever. Okay, now we are going to do, I'm going to do object. Because remember I said character is a little different and has an extra step. So this is going to be the same exact process, but I'm just going to run through it again. If you guys want to skip ahead, you know, maybe I'll try to remember the point in the video where we skip ahead. Okay, and I'll just sort of highlight it. So this is the same process. So we're just going to go through it again. I'll do less talking so you can kind of see it more streamlined, even though I'm still getting used to the process myself. So we're going to go to Object, right? And we're going to do Shift End, and we're going to do Extract. Now, these are 149 objects. So it's not much, it's about twice as much as the other one. So it's going to take about twice as long, but it's okay. So close this out. There's a lot smaller files too. So we're going to close this out. We don't need this anymore. But what we do need is to convert these into from DDL files, even though they're called bumps. BMPs rather. I always call them bumps. I don't know why. Shift End. Highlight all these new textures. Drag them on over, and we're gonna go to Output, and we're gonna make them back to PNG. PNG. Make sure no compression's on, and we're gonna do source folder while deleting the originals. I wish that was an option in Gigapixel, but it requires me to make a new folder. It is what it is. Okay, so that was fairly quick. And now we open up Topaz. Oh, we'll do clear all. Now we have all these new files here. We're gonna do Shift End, drag over. And now we have the object. See, look how much it brings out like wood grain. Like that's not there here. I mean, it's just faintly, but like it does a really cool job. Here's coal. Let's see what happens with this. Ooh, look at that. That's so. I'm always amazed by the software. Here's a chimney. Yeah, I mean, you do get some over sharpening kind of looking thing going on, but I think it's worth it. Like, and there's no other software that does this. Here I am talking more. You see how like no more is it, you know, blurry. It's nice and sharp. I mean, it's kind of probably hard to tell on your end. Okay, so now we need to change the folder. We still got the same settings. So instead of zone, you want to make it object and hit select folder and then hit start. Okay, so now we're processing 3 out of 148. Now we're on 5, 6. So it's going to take some time. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and we're going to pick up where we left off. And, you know, it doesn't give me an estimate of time, but I'm going to pause it. Okie doke. We just finished up upscaling. So now what we do is we go ahead and we close the program. This is all done. And we go back to our folder. And now under object, we should have all our objects upscaled. And yeah, it looks good, right? Now they are upside down, and I think that's one of the reasons why the next step is a little different. It's not much harder, just one extra little step, and you gotta remember to do it, otherwise it's gonna fuck everything up. I really wish I didn't just curse, because I don't know if I get flagged, but whatever. Maybe I'll bleep it out somehow. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is, sorry guys, I'm getting a little off track here. Okay, we got to convert these files into DDS files, right? Because they're upscale pictures. So we're going to take all these pictures here, textures, drop them in. I wonder why that's like that. Did that one not work or something? Didn't load? Whatever, I guess it just didn't load right. Okay, so we got all our files here. I didn't realize they had, I guess by the ports. They have these kind of buildings. Okay, so this is the objects. 148. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so output. We're going to change it to DDS. And we're going to do source folder and delete original and go. Okay. Oh, God, that's slow. Okay, so this says we have 7 minutes. Alrighty, so we are going to pause again so that we don't have to sit here staring at a progress bar. And I'll be back after this. Okay, guys, we're about done. Here we are. So the files have successfully been converted to .dds files. So now we need to use bulk rename utility to convert the file. So we go to object, Control A, extension BMP, and rename, and done. Then we go to object, and we go to butcher, and we find butcher object. I mean, you have to select it here anyway. And we're gonna go to, so make sure you select it over here. You go to add, and then we go to object, and we do Alt A, and then enter, and then you hold down yes, or enter. Thank God they made yes the default option. That's all I gotta say. Go. And by the way, remember you can delete this guy here. We don't need this. So object is now 60 megabytes. So now we're at a total of 60 plus 30, so 90-ish, a little less. What's that? 80, whatever. I'm bad at math, but it's 80-ish megabytes now, and it's about to get bigger. By doing the character one. So the character one is, this one's a little different. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to make sure we delete all this stuff, right? We don't need these textures anymore. This is from earlier. If you don't do that, it's going to really mess you up, and you're going to be adding textures you don't need to files. So make sure you start fresh. That's why I categorize things in different folders and make it simple. Okay. And just so you know, these folders can be deleted later. Everything's saved on these guys. These are like zip files, kind of. These are just to work. These are just working folders. Okay, so now we go to character. We do shift end, and then extract. Doesn't take too long. Oh, it seems like it's quite of a lot of things here. 491. I've done worse. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the xconvert thing. This one's quick. This is just converting to. So we're going to take all these guys, drop them in here, and then, okay, here is the thing that's different. Here it is. Where are we on the timestamp? We're at 38 minutes. This is important, guys. This is, if you don't do this, everything's going to be backwards and weird. Is there horses in Butcher Block? Like, we're still in Butcher, right? Yeah. I don't remember horses, but I guess there is. So you got your orc textures and all that. Okay, so what we need to do is, as you can see, everything's not upside down, but all the other textures, they were upside down. And if you don't flip these, for whatever reason, they turn out upside down. And I think the reason is because there's probably they probably use a somewhat of a different setting on those specific DDS files that made it so they somehow fit in a different way. I don't know. I don't know anything about game design and textures. There are many options as far as it comes to exporting things in DDS format that are available in different softwares. So this one doesn't have any options. Um, However, we want to keep it easy. And I found if you just flip the textures, there's no issues. Like it does the same thing. Like they kept things consistent enough. So this is what you're gonna do. Let me tell you. Instead of just going to output, we're gonna go to actions right here. We're gonna do one action. The first action we're gonna do is we're gonna do rotate, and you gotta rotate it 180 degrees. Cool. Then we're gonna add one more action, and it's gonna be mirror horizontal. That's it. That's all you gotta do. First, I didn't do this one, and then everything was like people's front of their shirts were on their back and stuff. So I did this, and this fixed it. So you gotta turn it upside down and flip it. I mean, I think technically you do mirror vertical and mirror horizontal, but I haven't tried it, and I don't really know if it'll work that way. But the way that works, that 100% works for me, is you rotate it 100 degrees to the right, and then you just flip it horizontally. I guess if I rotate it like negative 180, that might work, but whatever reason this works, so I'm going to just keep using this formula. And then output, we're going to do the source folder. We're going to make it PNG. And it should be no compression. Source folder, delete original, convert, right? So, it still takes no time, really. There are a lot more files here. So this is gonna, the next two steps are gonna be excruciatingly long. And I've probably been at this for, I mean, this video is 41 minutes long, but I've probably been at this for about an hour, and it's only gonna take longer. Okay, so maybe people out there that have beefier CPUs and stuff, and they can get this done quicker, or if you can somehow figure out how to batch do this with a script, so you don't have to do as many steps. Okay, so that's done. So here we are. We're gonna go home. Don't need this anymore. We got all these PNGs, right? So we're gonna open up our Topaz Gigapixel AI, and we don't need you anymore. Take these down here. These have been flipped, remember? So everything else is the same now, right? Like I feel like I probably shouldn't even like finish the video, but I want to finish the product and show you guys what it looks like. I'll just make a little dwarf and we'll run outside and check it out a little bit. See, that's interesting. I don't love what that ended up doing, but a lot of things are better, so I go ahead and keep it. Like, look at that. Look how much it just rounds off these circles. Oh god, that doesn't really, like, a lot of these are really good. Like, look, this is a snake eye or something. Like, before it was all blurry, now it's going to be nice and crisp. And these are relatively small textures. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. Oh, here's see how much more clear? It pops right at you. This is like, what? Blurry in the background? This is, I guess it's like is it a dwarf? Anyway, so let's okay, so we gotta change the folder. I always forget that. I've forgotten to do this a couple of times. I really punch myself for it. Like, it's annoying. So go to character now and do select folder. And we're doing just as we did for X. But now we're processing out of 490 textures. It's a lot of textures, guys. It's gonna take a while, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause it, and we'll be back when it's done. Okay, guys, real quick, while we're just waiting for this to be done. Right now we're 155 out of 500, pretty much. I figured I'd log in and just show you all what high-pass hold ended up looking at. I'm actually on psycher, keeping it nostalgic. You see the floor is way more smooth now. The walls look better. This is everything redone. The bartender's face is clear. This picture didn't turn out great, but it's there. Look at that. I think that ended up being really cool. I'm actually gonna turn off. I'm gonna get rid of auto tag just in case I somehow. How do you get rid of? Oh god, I hurt someone. I forget how to fucking play this game. Okay, anyway, so I think you hit like F9. Nope. Okay, there we go. Turn off the. So we're just gonna the UI. So I'm gonna just walk around. Oh, I don't want to go down there. I don't think. Well, I guess I have to, right? Just gonna walk around a little bit, show you all. See, look at that keys. Look how like look at that like paper right there. It's really kind of cool. I'm sure the frame rate's really not good. Well, it says 60 frames per second, but I almost don't believe it. Probably because, you know, I got so many processing going on. And my computer isn't that strong. Okay, how do I get out of here? Is this it? Oh, jeez. Classic EverQuest, right? This way, maybe? I'm sure my keyboard's really annoying. Maybe I'll delete this part. I think this is it. Okay. So here we are outside. Trees have been retextured. The walls are retextured. The ground's retextured. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not blurry either. And the AI does a good job of sort of filling in details it didn't really have before. I'm also using classic HD textures for the character models. You know, look at this barrel. Look at that barrel. I bet you the water looks kind of funky. Yeah, it looks okay. Look at a tree. It's almost like sometimes I feel like things are a little too detailed, but you know, that's a weird complaint, right? Look at the rocks on the ground. Like, when have you ever seen the ground textures and actually been like, oh, like that I can actually tell what it is. It's not just like a blur, you know. And you have to forgive me. I'm really bad at navigating this zone. What are we at? 333 out of 500. We're almost there, guys. I'm sorry. I could have kept it paused, but I figured I'd show you a little bit of the texture work that I got done last night. What's this place? Top of the world. Look at that. And this troll's all nice and upscale textures. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I wouldn't be. That would be way more blurrier. Look at this carpet. Like, it's like, oh, it's crazy. Look at the books. Were we already in this room? I don't know, but as you can see, everything just looks nice. I also have anti-aliasing on. That's something that you all should. Ooh, hey, buddy. Put on. The guards are looking nice and textured up. The colors aren't perfect, but they're pretty good. Pretty good. It's definitely an upgrade. You know. And honestly, I can't think of any other way besides repainting all the textures to really get this to look as good as it does. Look at the tree. It's not just a blur. And obviously, and I get perfect frames per second with this. I just have a lot of processing going on. So, you know, that's a factor. I feel like, didn't I come here for my epic? Am I like, I'm a little afraid that like, oh, I can't call on anyone when I don't have an interface. I always feel a little overwhelmed when I'm in this zone. I'm pretty sure we're coming up to the orcs and stuff. Oh, the gnolls. Yeah, let's look at the gnolls. Wow, dude, that gnoll looks... Oh, he's actually attacking me? Why are you attacking me? I can't believe he had the audacity. So he's dead. The textures are high res. Things are looking good. Look at that wall. I don't know. It really just makes EQ feel way more like it came out few years later, you know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, I mean, they definitely have some artifacts. It's not completely perfect, but for batch processing, so we don't have to individually do everything. I think it turned out pretty great. Okay, so I'm gonna sign off then. I'm just gonna. I guess I have to. No, I can do just camp. Oh, I have to sit. Can just camp? Oh, I actually have to sit now. Or has it always been like that? I don't know. Okay, so process is complete. So I'm actually just gonna /Q out of here. Fuck it. Surprised I didn't mess up my gamma. Okay, so process is complete. All right. So now we gotta go up here, and what we have to do is we have to convert these PNGs, which we already turned upside down, right? And we gotta convert these big old PNGs into DDLs. You know the drill by now, right? We're gonna make sure we turn off these actions because we already rotated it. So take all these files, 480 or 490, right? 490, we got 490. Output, we're gonna set it to DDS. And I don't know, like, why can't I use all my cores? Like, I'll try again, see what happens. Source folder, deleting the original, and they're going to be DDS and go. The CPU core settings is disabled. Can't be used with ASC mode or multi-image PDF, multi-page. Okay, whatever. Oh, we're going pretty quick though. This is quicker than I thought it would be. It does say estimated time 17 minutes though. Oh no, that's time. I don't know what that means. Oh, it's the end time. So it means 5:55. So that's soon, 2 minutes. I mean, it says it right here, 1 minute remaining. This is way quicker than the other one. I don't know. Maybe I just should have kept that bar on. So this is actually going pretty quick. We're almost done. After this, we just got to rename it, which takes a second. Then we got to throw it into the zip, and then we can jump in and test it out. All right, that's always fun. Oh, guys, this is as exciting as this is, though. It's really a pain. Like, I don't want to really do this for every zone. I mean, I want to. So now that you guys know my process, maybe we can somehow get together and figure out a way we can set up some sort of a community drive where we have the list of the zones, and when someone's done a zone, they upload all 3 files: the zone file, the character file, and the object file. And if you have 2 or 3 people working on it, I think we could probably get it done in a month or so. I mean, there really isn't that many classic zones. Like, let me pull up. This is gonna be done really soon, so I'm gonna just I'm gonna stop my thought. This video is getting way long. We're almost at an hour, so I'm gonna stop there with my talking, and we are done. These are done, so we're gonna hit close, and we have DDS files now. So again, bulk rename utility, go to character, take all these files, change it to BMPs, rename, close. Then we go to our character, make sure we're on character, and we're gonna go and just go to add, and we're gonna go to character. We're gonna open all these up and hit enter and hold down yes. This one's gonna take kind of a while because there's 500 files, but we will get there, guys. So this was 4.5 megabytes ish. Let's see where we end up when this is done. I have a feeling it's gonna be like 80. Oh, 32. Okay, not too bad. And that's it. We're done, guys. So what we're gonna do is close this out. I think I'm gonna do it actually, just for my sanity. I'm gonna rename Butcher. Like, maybe I'll put a number in the front. Do like 0 complete. sits at the top. We'll just do that for once we complete. But I won't bore y'all with all that and do it right now. So now that this is done, I hate this view sometimes. Okay, so these are the 3 new files. So what we do is we take these files and do copy. You know, you want to keep the backup. And then you're gonna go to your EverQuest client folder, and you're just gonna paste them in here and rewrite. Now I have all the files in a zip, so if it doesn't work, I can always get it. Okay, cool, we're done. So now I'm gonna pull up. Gonna launch Titanium again, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a dwarf, right? Why not? Drag this on over here. Let's go to. I guess we'll do green. Why not? We'll see some people running around. Keeps putting it on the wrong side. Just 1 second. Damn, I keep wanting to say I love the music in this game, but like, you know, so create a new character. What we'll do is we'll do a dwarf. Claire, I always wanted to do a dwarf Claire, to be honest with you. And we'll wow, he looks good with these high-res textures. I gotta retexture this zone too. That'd make it nice. Gotta find out the name of it. I don't know how. I guess you pump it in wisdom or maybe stamina. Oh, I gotta move this over some. Pump with some stamina. I don't know. Is agility important? I don't think it is. Wisdom's definitely important. So I'll pump that up. Can we do all wisdom? No, I have to put 5 into something else. I guess we'll do stamina. Like, whatever. Okay. I'm just gonna do a random name. Okay. Look how good these textures are. Okay, so we need to go outside and see if I can remember how to get there. Is this the way out? Wow, that was easy. Okay, I'm gonna try full screen in this guy. See how that works for us. Oh, it worked. Okay, cool. It's just so you guys get a better idea of the textures. There we go. Here we go. Remember this wall looks like. It's going to be way different in a second. Now, there are definitely going to be people out there that say, like, this kind of loses the charm of the original look of the game, but it's hard to look at these blurry textures in 2019. Let's be real. Okay, now look at it. It's like, it looks like stone, right? And look at the ground. I really hope I don't mess up here. And like, okay, everything looks good so far. Wow, look at that. And look at the guards. The guards have been upscaled. The armor's smooth. You can see actually like their definition in their arms and stuff. Here we are. And here's the ground. It looks way more detailed. Everything is more detailed. Let's look at this guy. All right, that's the main attraction. So yeah, he still looks a little blurry. Remember I said that it looked a little low res or whatever. But I wasn't going to individually make it any bigger. And there's only so much data. So yeah, everything's nice and smooth. These bats don't attack you, right? I don't think they do. But the bats are... Oh, fuck. Something's... Oh, goblin. Oh, God. I hope I don't die. What is my health even at? Okay, I'm good. I'm just gonna walk over to now if you guys see like the anti-aliasing, forced anti-aliasing does work good in this game. I suggest you guys do it. And I'll pull that up really quick. I mean, we did what we set out to do. The doors are retextured. Everyone looks okay. The dwarves look good. Fireplace looks nice. The walls are smooth. Everything is textured up. That doesn't look amazing, but I mean, it still looks better to me. You know, I'm still definitely a fan. Let's see if I can look at this this goblin over here. I wish it was higher level. Goblin looks nice. Let's go to the snake here. If I die, I don't really care. Snake looks nice and upscale. You can see the actual scales. You know, the only thing that looks not great is like the zone separations, but this game has always been that way, and you can't really fix it without, you know, doing too much. Okay, so that's that. I'm not gonna run around anymore, because you know, maybe I could head to the boat. How much time do I have? An hour and 1 minute. So you know, as you guys know, at this point, I just don't think I'll be doing regular videos. Oh, looks like I'm getting attached by a crag chick. I'm gonna be surprised if I live this one. You know, I'm not gonna make it to the docks without dying. Like, let's be real. Don't fade away. But okay, that's it. That's all I have for you guys. Everything seems to be working great. Look at the marbling. Oh wow, that looks really good. So this is just EverQuest without the blurry textures. Okay, that's that. I'm gonna end it here, and I hope you guys learned a bit. And I might make another video at some point, figuring out, you know, if there's any confusion or progress. Okay, that's that. I'm gonna stop recording.